All right, hey guys, here we are. Another Friday. We're back.
It's Friday. Who made it to Friday? I did. I did.
Oh, so did I, baby. So did I. It was a good week though. This week was a good week. Didn't have any problems at all. Everything went very well. So week.
Are we doing a countdown, baby?
Nah, we
Till we
live
get
now.
started. We live. We just gonna go right on in.
Yeah, we just go ahead right on there.
All right,
So how's
guys.
everybody doing out there this evening?
Out there in social media land,
Yeah, how you guys doing?
we are hope you are doing just as fantastic as we are. It has been a great week. I am excited.
I feel rejuvenated. Life is good.
Yeah, what he said. All right. So, I don't know. Haven't got much more rest since last week, but I feel better. All right.
Well, that's
So
okay.
let's start today off with the biggest, most wonderful thing to start.
Okay.
Happy birthday to my sister Mia Miller.
All right. Happy birthday, Mia.
Happy birthday, Mimi. She's my big sis. Happy birthday, Mimi. I hope your day was filled with wonderful joy and happiness.
I did see what she said. Her Zelle account was still working, so I hope you guys drop some money on
Alright,
it.
so drop some Zales over at Mimi's account. All right, so I don't know how many of you guys listened to this week's podcast, but you were supposed to listen to this week's podcast because if you didn't, you cannot join in on the conversation because you could not have been prepared for today, right? So,
Right.
how many of you guys out there are prepared for today's conversation?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for sure.
All right, so
But I was in it, right?
right, but you. So we are going to come right back after our message, right? And we're going to jump right into the conversation because this week was about reconnecting. And we gave you 3 ways to reconnect. And so we asked you to join us to talk about that and to also share some of the ways that you reconnect with your mate. All right, so we'll talk about that right after these messages.
All right, here we are. Here we
So
are. Here
we're
we are.
back. So we're back. So for you guys who do not know, we are here to give marriage and relationship advice. All right. So that's what we hear. We are here to help couples take their marriages off of cruise control. So if you,
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 you.
if you don't know. And if you feel like your marriage is on cruise control, so you need to tune in to our podcast and listen to some of our things because that's why we are here. We are here to give marriage and relationship advice and to help you take your relationship off of the automatic.
That's
And
right.
how do we do that? By being intentional, being present, and being aware. And so,
Ah.
Jason and I,
Okay.
we have been, and so first of all,
Aware? We've been aware.
we've sometimes we're
Okay.
aware.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and because we are aware, it helps us to make sure that you are aware. So let's speak to some of our guests tonight.
Hey, Monique, how are you? Thanks for joining.
Hello, Monique.
I saw those wonderful pictures from Mexico.
Yes,
That's
we
it.
hope you guys had a great
Good time.
time.
It looked
All
like you
right,
did.
Yes.
Hey, Vicky, how
beautiful.
are you?
All right. All right.
Is Earl with you, Vicky?
All right. So who else?
Hey, Nancy.
Nancy.
Hey.
Hey, family.
How are you?
What's going on? All right. So we hope he's. Yes.
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 Yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Right.
Good, good. It looked like it, Monique. It did.
Yes.
It looked like it.
So we hope that all of you guys listened or looked at this week's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't, you need to go look at it.
Yeah.
All right. Because we talked about the fact that Jason and I
Mm-hmm.
had been pulled a bunch of different ways this week, right?
Yep.
So we had commitments to our work, commitments to our business, commitments to our family. We still had things we needed to do. Plus, we also commitment to our uncle who is in Michigan, and just going back and forth with our conferences and a lot of other things. So in the process, we realized, and in the midst of that, we had an anniversary.
Yes.
We made our 31st anniversary.
Whew, yes, we made
And
it.
so,
You
even though we would have probably liked to have spent it differently, it was still great. It was fantastic. But in the midst of that, we realized that we had lost some type of connection, right? Not deep, not
just being busy.
And
I think.
Yes, just being busy,
and we
being
felt like we weren't connecting the way that we should have been connected.
Right. And when you are connected, you can feel the difference. And when you're not connected, you can definitely feel that something is off. Right. And so it wasn't deep. It wasn't like really, really bad. We weren't at each other's throats.
Yeah, you weren't getting on my nerve or anything like that, babe.
I would never do that.
No, you wouldn't.
But we did feel a disconnect.
Right.
And so the thing is that, like anything, right? When something starts, we have to nip it in the bud.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it grows and grows and grows. And the next thing we know, we're miles apart and we don't realize how we got there. And in the midst of all of that, we're trying to get back connected. And sometimes we can do that with vacations like Monique took, right? Or we can do that with little getaways or whatever. But sometimes people don't have that opportunity or privilege, or they don't have that at their disposal. So, and when you see that something is off, it doesn't matter how far apart you guys are, whether you've connected yesterday, 5 years ago, or 25 years ago. We can always start again.
Mm-hmm.
We can always start the process of reconnecting because we're still here. We're still human. We still need each other. We still thrive for that interconnection between two people. So Jason and I discussed how to reconnect. And we asked you, those who listen, to let us know some of the ways that you reconnect with your mate. And maybe some of the ways that you realize
that things aren't going as smoothly as you would like.
Or you can feel that little disconnect somewhere.
Yeah, you just know something's up. You don't know exactly what it is, but you know what? We're not as tight as we used to be. We're just kind of going through two ships, just passing in the night type deal. But we need to just get back and center ourselves.
Right. So, does anyone out there want to share some of the things that they do to get reconnected?
Well, I'll start.
Well, I was talking about our audience.
I know.
All right, go right ahead.
We talked about, one of the things was sitting down and going back in the past and reminiscing on how you met or what you felt like when you met each other. And it brings back those emotions and those feelings, and it puts you in a better place. So if I'm sort of disconnected, so to speak, from Tina, if I start talking about the things that excited me or us when we first met and the things that we used to do and how life was wonderful.
He loves about me.
Oh, the things I love about you. Because then if I go back to the beginning, I'm going to always talk about the things I loved about you. What attracted me to you?
Love.
Yeah,
no
love.
D. No D.
Yeah, love.
Love
right.
about me.
Present tense.
Love then and love now. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the things that you love about me, that you at that moment in time you recognize them, and now you still love them about me.
Right. Exactly. Right. But sometimes we need to be reminded of these things. That's the problem. Day to day bills come, work and everything else, and life happens, and we just kind of put that down and we don't really say much about it. So we're just saying, how do other couples try to reconnect? Or do you realize that you need to reconnect?
That you're disconnected. And disconnection could just mean that things are still going okay, right? My nose is a little runny. I don't know why. Things are a little disconnected. Things could still be going well, but maybe you don't talk as much, or maybe you just sometimes you don't want it to get too far. So like what Jason was saying, when we talk about things of the past, not only things that we like, but we talk about funny things. Like, remember that time when you did this, or remember that time when we did that, or remember that time, really silly, stupid things that make us laugh, because now we're sharing intimately between he and myself, and it's something that not only connects us by the conversation, but makes us laugh, make us lighthearted, So if things aren't right, you really want to do something that can put down your defenses, right? And so, and it's not always an argument or something that happened that makes you get disconnected. It's just life in general.
Right.
Life gets in the way, whether it's kids, grandkids, whether it's, you need to travel, or someone's busy at work, or you find yourself not being able to be, 100% present, because we do get tired. We do get run down. And sometimes we think that the best way to do that is just to, separate ourselves. I need some time to just rejuvenate myself. But
Hmm.
sometimes that puts a little bit of disconnect in between us. So one of some of the other ways that do we have any comments? Oh, so Vicky did say, yeah, Earl is there.
Okay.
Um,
Hey, Earl.
and
How are you?
so we
I always want
are
to give a shout out to Earl too. Yes.
so we are also asking you guys to let us know. But another way that we talked about couples that can reconnect is that a lot of this
Or
buzzword.
But before you do that, but
Mhm.
can you even have that conversation? I mean, do you have that conversation? So you know something is not right. Do you come to him? It's like, hey, I feel like we're just not as connected as we once were a couple of days ago, or whatever the case is, however the time span is, along how long it's been. Do you have that conversation, or do you just kind of let things kind of regroup on itself on its own, and then you guys kind of come back together?
I think you can do both.
You
I think
can.
I think that if a couple is really getting to a point of disconnection and they can both feel it,
Mm-hmm.
and you can feel it in your home, that maybe a conversation needs to be had, right? Hey, something's off. I don't know what it is. Now, don't forget, we're not doing the blame game, right? Something's
Right.
off. It's not you've been working too much. We're not speaking. Not the blame game. We can have the conversation, but we can also say, hey, you know what? Something's just not right. So let me plan us to do something. Let me
Okay.
find a way to reconnect. So Jason also talked about, right, so this buzzword, as I was saying, is going around, is date night, right? So
Yeah.
people talk about date night, date night.
Yeah.
Date night is great. We do date night. Date night is wonderful. But in our podcast, some of the restrictions or guidelines is that your date night has to be something that is going to cause both you and your mate to
To
be
be
engaging.
engaged, not
Right?
just watching a movie, you in your seat and I'm in mine. We're engaging on this date night.
Yes.
That's when it becomes more meaningful, when it's engaging.
So it's sort of like, so the movies was out. If you were going to the movies or the show or the theater or whatever you call it, it had to be something where you are interacting with him, because even though you can hold hands, that's
Mhm.
not the same thing. So we're trying to reconnect on a deeper level, which means that I want to be able to interact with you and you interact with me with nothing else, disturbing us. So Jason and I talked about maybe bowling, and bowling can be a little competitive. So we said maybe you should do
But
maybe for
right,
some people,
right, right, right. Yeah,
right? And
and it's
if
not
you're
being
not a bowler,
competitive,
right?
right,
And if you're not a bowler, you're just going to have fun.
right,
So go and
and picking each other up.
yes,
Just having a good time, just picking each other up. Now remember that this date night is about reconnecting, right?
hmm
It's about just kind of like picking up where you are and just making it
and
better.
just going to have fun,
Right.
right? Let's just do something together that can try to connect the bonds. And we said maybe even do it with another couple. So that
Hmm.
way, if you invite another couple to your to date night, which is going to be bowling or something, then now it can be you and your mate against the other team, right?
Right.
Against the other couple.
Right.
Now you and him have to bond, right? So it's not, oh, you got a gutter or a strike. This way you guys are connecting where you are supporting each other, you're high-fiving, you're hugging, you're touching, you're like, all right, baby, you can do it. This is a connection, right? So this week was all about how to reconnect. And so for those who did not listen to the podcast, we expect for you to do your homework and do some activities between this Friday and next Friday to reconnect, right?
Yep.
So we're not talking about just sitting outside in the backyard. That's
Right.
wonderful.
Hmm.
But we're talking about doing things that's actually you and him have to engage.
You
So
know,
what were some of the other things?
No,
Jay?
I was just thinking about that. So you said like, well, we sit out on the back and because I like to sit on the back of the patio and,
That's
and
true.
just
Enjoy
sit
it.
there,
Enjoy
right?
the
Enjoy.
weather. Mhm.
But then what I find is I'm finding myself on electronic devices.
Yeah.
So is that really spending quality time together, or we just in the same space?
Right.
And so I don't want to confuse the two. I want to be very intentional about my time. I feel that we're in the same space and we're not really spending much quality time together.
So this is all about connecting. That's why we said you have to be engaging. So we have a comment. What was that comment? And then we can go on.
I think skating. You know what? I thought about skating too.
So skating and what? So we can
Hold each other up. That's right.
Right. What
Well,
I said.
teenage, right? That's true. Holding each other up. You're not a teenager anymore. But yeah, I get that. And I thought about that. But you really have to have each other's back on skating, especially if you're not good at it.
So we even suggested skating, and we said that as Nancy said, holding each other up, or if you can skate, one person skates backwards while the other person holds your hand, or you can reverse it. Or, like I said, like Jason and I like to do when we go skating, he's a big show off. So we may hug and we just do a
I
little
just got
stuff
some
with our
balance,
feet.
baby.
We
That's
just do a
all.
little stuff with our feet to make it look like I really can skate. Like I know what I'm doing, right? He
I'll
do
make you
all
look
his
good.
fancy things, but we may hold, or you can skate outside. So you can go outside and skate, do something. Part
If you're
of
brave.
part of it is doing something maybe that you've never done before
Sure.
together,
Right.
so that you can laugh at each other together, so
Mhm.
that you can have fun together. Say, okay, well, let's try this, right? Right.
Or just step out of your comfort zone. It's funny because when I first met Tina, she liked playing cards, right? So they bust out some cards. Now I despise card playing, right? I don't like it, but she didn't know that.
Despise is a very strong word.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah, strongly. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So they pull out the cards, and I'm going, okay. He's like, Jason, you want to play? Yeah, I'll play some spades, not a problem, right? After everything worked out and we end up together, she's like, you want to play some cards? I said, baby, I hate playing cards. I really don't like playing cards. I only did that because, you wanted to play and it was, something you wanted to do, but I
So he
just didn't
wanted
like
to get the girl. He tried to impress me with cards, but I didn't know that because I really like playing cards. So, but so we said, so so we said, and I'm gonna have to get my glasses, but because you're gonna have to read those comments.
Okay.
All right.
Best I can.
All right, the best you can. What is this is Earl. Honestly, is the best policy. We have a system where we tell each other what negative things the other does that is a problem with us in a nice way and tone, yet firm, so the other person knows that this is not the thing to do. All right, Earl.
I like that, Earl.
All right.
I do.
So, and I keep telling you, I don't know, it's cold in here. Jason, it's gotten warm here. And so now Jason wants to turn the heat up, the air on.
Not
And,
that,
ooh.
yep, not the air.
Okay. So that's wonderful, Earl. Absolutely. Honestly, it's the best policy when you said, I feel disconnected. But it's not about what the other person does. Because as we said, even though that's excellent, we're talking about maybe you've been working really hard
Mhm.
and you're just a little tired. And for you don't realize it and she doesn't realize it, but there's just this little bit of disconnect that can sometimes come between us when we are putting other things first, or we're tired, or
Right.
things just
Right. Things are
and
just
so-
not lining up between us.
So what we're saying is recognize that. Be
Mhm.
intentional in your relationship. Be present in your relationship so that you know when Earl, when you're working too hard or too long, and I think Earl, you may be retired. So and then Vicky says she's retiring. So when you guys are spending too much time with the grands,
Yeah, there you
so
go.
it gotta be something else. So when you guys are spending too much time with the grands or just being preoccupied with just being retired.
Right.
Sometimes little things can creep in between you guys and you don't even realize it. And you're just like, everything is fine, everything's going well. It's just that, you start to do things a little bit more apart.
Or routine where
routine.
it's just it's,
monotonous.
I can
Right.
always know what we're doing at this time, and it just kind of gets good blah. So
Right.
we just want to say, you know what, let's shake it
wake
up a little
wake
bit.
up the blah. Wake
Yeah.
up the blah. Don't, because comfort is good. Even routine is good at some point, but you don't want to get stuck in the doldrums, and that's what happens. So when things get a little too routine, a little bit of the monotony to break it up, you want to do something spontaneous. You want to have a date night, but the date night has to be something that is engaging both of you guys to require you all to engage with each other. Right? So we talked about skating. We talked about, so we're back on cards.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Jason was saying, we said, and you don't have to go out to do a date night, right? So, hey, you realize things may be a little disconnected. Tonight, let's do cards. And you say, let's play.
Spades?
Let's play some strip spades.
Oh, yeah.
So for those of us who do not know how to play poker,
which I don't.
And neither do I.
Okay.
So we wouldn't play that.
Right.
We would play strip spades.
Okay.
And so we said, make sure that if you have kids, the kids are gone. If you have grandkids, they're not coming over. And so, draw the shades, make sure all the blinds are down. We don't want to give anybody a free show outside the bedroom. But let this be fun. Let it be engaging, and let's just have fun with it. Like, marriage is just like life. It can be, like you said, routine. It can it can start to be just like, I'm just living to live.
Right.
But it's a difference between, just being alive and actually living. Right? I want to live. I want to enjoy each day, every day, extremely well. So we want to make sure that when you're doing these things to reconnect, that it's making you feel alive, it's making you reconnect, it's making you have fun, it's making you realize why you fell in love with this person in the first place and how you can continue to fall in love with the person. So
And it's subtle too. I mean, when the disconnect kind of comes, it's just a subtle little thing.
sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we just want to catch it. We want to be intentional.
Yeah.
What were some of the other cards we said we could play? Oh, you said games like we could play Jenga.
Yep.
So Jenga is very engaging. Two people, very fun, very exciting. Some of the other things that we talked about that you could do, you could get the perfection game. You guys remember perfection, where you try to put the little things in the hole. So we talked
or
about
board games in general, really.
Board games.
Checkers, chess.
And I know sometimes we say, well, you don't want to do anything that, maybe you don't want to do anything that's intellectual. If you're an intellectual person, then get those games that are intellectual. If you're not, then get something that's fun. And sometimes we have to go into the kids section of games. So we talked about getting Hungry Hippo, right? We talked about getting games that are fun for kids as well as adults, that we can go back into being a kid, because we're an adult 24/7. So let's try to do something differently. So is this Vicky? So I guess this is Vicky because it didn't say, hey, this is Earl. So hey, Vicky. So she said we reconnect by letting each other.
Letting each other know.
Letting.
Yep, letting each other know how they feel
when we feel the void.
Right.
Yes, absolutely. So Vicky, when you guys feel the void, what do? What are some of the ways that you reconnect?
It's like, hey, I feel a little void here.
That's
we
right.
need to reconnect.
That's right. So we want you
we
to
need to get out of the house, maybe.
Because we shared, 3 ways to reconnect. We want you to tell us, how do you reconnect? That's all right. Jason got it.
Yeah, I got it. No problems.
Right.
Yeah, because there's so many different ways to.
So Vicky said, and we go out. We go out and do what, Vicky?
We go out.
We go out, and that's good. Because
but you know what? I think you have to get out of the house, though. You have to change the scenery a little bit.
Not necessary. We just talked about playing games.
I understand that, but I'm saying it feels good to change the.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you want to get out.
My sister Jade asked, do you have any suggestions for a couple with young children who only see each other one day a week with no babysitter because of work schedules? Well, the first thing you do is that there are babysitters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find someone that you trust and believe in, that you can, whether it's a close friend of yours or a close friend of your husband's, and whether it's a family member, but someone that you completely trust. The problem is that when we have young kids, we have this trust issue. We think nobody can take care of them but us. But the truth is that if you allow people to love your children, they will love them as much as you do. But it has to be someone who is that you know extremely, extremely well, right?
Right.
That you trust your children with. So the first thing is you definitely need a babysitter, because you and your husband can't reconnect with the kids there. It's just impossible.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible.
And doing it one day a week is tough too, because that's when you see each other.
Right.
Now, obviously, you're on different schedules when this happens. So what you're going to have to do, someone's going to have to give up a little sleep. So if one person comes in while the other one,
some give and take.
Yeah, you're going to have to do some give and take. So if they're working late, and then either you stay up late or you get up super early, just to have some interaction with them before they leave the house. So it's going to be a little bit of give and take. So someone's going to lose some sleep, or somebody's going to end up staying up late, or whatever.
And the thing is that you have to talk about it. You have to talk. The biggest thing is to communicate, just as Vicky said. You have to communicate, and you have to communicate, hey, honey, things seem a little bit off. Your schedule is very hectic. My schedule is very hectic. When we come home, we're tired. We're not connecting with each other. And just find out, talk to your mate what is exciting, what you have fun in and what they have fun in.
Right.
Because you want to do something that's enjoyable for both of you guys, but it's also engaging both of you guys.
But if they only seeing each other once a week, just due to kids and work schedule, they're gonna have to connect somewhere in the middle during the day. And that's what I said. Either you're gonna get up early or stay up late and wait for that person to come home and have a little bit of a connection during that time. I mean, so what? I mean, your schedules don't align; it just don't align. But you can make it work.
Yeah.
If it's just a couple of days out of the week, because you got to add to more than that one day. That one day, I can tell you right now, with kids and work and everything else, one day is not enough to connect.
The disconnect is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So again, we have to be present in our marriage and intentional in our marriage, which means that we have to be able to sit down with our mate and say, you know what, I would like to make sure that our marriage, that we don't grow further apart, because right now things are happening that we're maybe getting a little further apart. So you have to be intentional, as Jason said, making time, one person, okay, on Monday and Tuesday I'll stay up a little bit later so that you and I can interact. Friday and Saturday, is your day, you can stay up a little bit later. So working out a schedule where you guys are actually not ships in the night, but you guys are actually maybe even connecting for 20, 30 minutes. But then that one day, you guys are planning that day for you all, just you, no one else. You're going to spend the entire day together that you have. So if it's one day that you guys see each other and you're both off, then that day is going to be your day.
Right.
But if you're not off, you just see each other that one day, then you have to try to figure something out. Right. So it's going to take some intention, some being
some creativity.
Yeah. But the thing is that you have to make time for your relationship, otherwise you will not have one. Because
and that's true.
You get involved in your life, your mate gets involved in their life, and those two lives are not your lives together.
Right.
So you have to be present in your marriage. You have to be intentional, and you have to be aware when the space is getting wider and wider and wider.
Yeah, but like I said before, that one day is not going to work. You're gonna have to, work a little bit harder to connect on more than that one day.
So Vicky said they may watch something that's funny.
And you know what?
Absolutely.
Laughter always helps.
Laughter
Vicky.
heals.
Yes,
Laughter
it
heals.
does.
Laughter love is heals.
Yeah, I love that.
So what were some of the other things we talked about?
Hiking, biking. Just if you're an outdoorsy type person, theater. I mean, just many different things.
And so we talked about things where you need each other.
Right.
Right. So we're not.
And that's the whole thing. It's about being engaging on this particular journey. So we need each other. So
Right.
it's not like, we can go anywhere. We can go to we can go to a game. We can go somewhere else. Or we're just, like I said, we're just in the same space, but we're still not really connecting. But the things that we're talking about things that we really need to connect with one another. We need to have a conversation about it. We need to reminisce about something, or we need to have each other where it's us against the event. So that creates the support that we have for each other.
So we talked about for those who like escape rooms, right? Go do an escape room. Now they have different levels of escape rooms.
Yeah.
If you're the real intellectual type and you want to use that mind, go all out for it, right? But if you're, you just want to have some fun, do that. What the biggest thing to me in reconnecting and having fun and living is being a kid, right? Kids to me live their best life.
They do. They don't have a care in the world.
They just, when they go somewhere, they just go all out crazy.
Yes.
So we recommended like a Dave and Buster's, an adult amusement place. I love go-karting or whatever it's called.
Yep.
When you're speeding around the track.
Yep.
And so I would love to do that where I'm having fun and I'm racing him. Right,
Okay.
so we're engaging each other. We can go into.
You eating my smoke? You ain't gonna be racing me. I'm going.
You can even go, if they still have them, a Chuck E. Cheese, right? So what? You're two adults there. Enjoy the games. Get some tokens. Have some fun. Might be a lot of funky feet and kids and cheese, but have some
But they
fun.
trying to get away from.
Right. I felt it a lot when he was working.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Work
Absolutely.
always can get in the way of your
Yes.
relationship.
Being a fireman, you never know what mood swing he will be in. Yeah,
Exactly.
I learned to be humble and have patience. We would reconnect by talking about something positive.
Yeah,
right?
some positive
things.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and that's how it is. The stress from work, and that's why I was telling Jade, the stress from work, you guys not connecting, and then you having that one day is not going to work. You're going to have to put more into it because that one day is just not going to cut it. You know what? Whether for men, I know we go out and we try to be strong and all these other things in the workplace and in the home, but we need some support as well. So we need that connection. We need that, and we don't always get it. So we just you may be getting beat down at work due to the things that go on at work, and then you're not really connecting with your mate. So you just don't have anyone to kind of have your back in a sense.
And
so when you can have that connection and you can talk and continue to build something here, it keeps you going. It's fuel for you.
And also knowing your mate, right? So really knowing your mate to an extent of realizing, is my mate someone that prefers something calm or something exciting? Is my mate someone that likes to talk or likes to do. Is what, so really, really, really honing in on your mate, getting to know your mate, or even that one day you guys just spending time together, getting to know each other again.
Hmm.
Because after you have kids, you become another person. Women, most of the time, we lose ourselves.
Yep.
We're just now with all this wonderful men. Men are wonderful, dads are wonderful, but I would say majority of the time, women are the ones, taking care of the kids, and we lose ourselves. Not that we want to, but we're all in with our kids, right?
Right.
So, um, for Jade, in order to reconnect, that one day, find something that you both enjoy
Hmm.
and find ways of doing it that, you know, lost my train of thought when I was going back to
Just
that.
that
But
helps you reconnect. I wouldn't really bring in any other couples during this time. I would take that one day and be selfish with it, and it just be me and my mate
yeah.
until we can just build up something and have a clear understanding
Oh, talking about
and a
getting to know
good
each other.
foundation
Right.
before I would do maybe a double date or bring other couples over, because you've already spent so much time apart. This is the one day that you guys have together. Then you need to maximize that day. You need to go all in on that day that you guys have
Yeah.
together.
And as I said before, we become different people. So the
Hmm.
person that you were prior to kids and the person that your mate was prior to kids, you guys are two different people right now, because kids just add a
They
whole different
change your
dynamics to
whole,
the to
yeah.
the to the thing. So
Yep.
just I would really, really take that one day and try to find something that he and I or she and I could do and reconnect, and even just talking about who we are now and our needs, what we need, what we would like to see in our relationship, something nice, something positive, something that can move your relationship forward. And then making time, putting each other on the calendar. We talked about this,
Mhm.
putting each other on the calendar every week, right? Building your relationship back so that you don't get disconnected more. All right. So we have very good. We cook, eat, watch TV, and do house cleaning together. This keeps us.
Oh, connected. Oh, I bet it was, especially
I
that
don't. Know.
house cleaning. Yep. That'll do it. That'll keep everybody connected.
I don't know.
I'm
May,
still
may
working
start
on
us.
that.
May start us to arguing. You didn't put that back. You didn't. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you for sharing. That's wonderful. Yeah. So we have to find things that we do to keep us
Or
connected.
like, so being a first responder is a very demanding job. You see a lot of things. You have to deal with a lot of things, and then you have to come home, and it's just you have to have a space to unwind and just kind of decompress from the time that you were on the stressful job. And you have to learn how to deal with that, and you have to grow to that point. And like Vicky said, she learned to be patient and loving. Yeah, that's what that person needs, especially dealing with all of that first responder type stuff in your face. So sure, you need to. That's that's one of the things you have to deal with.
Absolutely. So, as I said before, we want to make sure that we are being aware when things are starting to just pull apart.
Yep.
When things are getting, and it's not, so as I said before, don't get confused with disconnect. Disconnect doesn't mean that he and I are arguing, we're not sleeping together, we're on different terms. That's not, the smallest disconnect can grow bigger and bigger and bigger.
Sure.
So when we are aware that we can feel, we as beings can feel when we're connected, when we're in alignment, when
Yes.
we're on the same path going forward, right? Or when he's worn out from work and I can feel it.
Hmm.
And so therefore, because he's tired, he doesn't want to be bothered. So then he's not trying to diss me. It's just that, you know what, I'm tired. I just need my space.
Right.
And so I have to be intentional in our relationship and say, okay, what can I do that's not going to bug him, bother him, but continue for us to be connected? So that's what I'm talking about, making sure that we're still connected. So, as I said before, so from today to next Friday, guys, we want to know what you guys are doing to reconnect, right? So make sure
Hmm.
that you reconnect. And we don't always have to reconnect by going out. We can do it sitting at home, being with playing cards. Hey, sometimes Jason and I will sit down and we'll do like a spa day. He'll be
Yep.
soaking his feet, I'll be soaking my feet. We'll be doing it whatever, and then we're talking. So we're talking about whether it's our plans for the future,
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about how our week went. Whether
Mm-hmm.
we're talking about crazy people who may
Trying
have
to interfere with my week. Yes.
right. So then we may talk about them for a minute and then get back on a positive note, but we're able to release all of the stress and the anxiety that we may be feeling each day so that we can get back to being connected. And that's part of the connection is making sure that you're communicating, but also just engaging in fun activities.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Fun
You have to
activities.
you have to engage in fun activities because life as in general is stressful. So
Can be.
yeah, it can be. I mean, life isn't easy. Adulting sucks. Okay, so I like being a kid. It was real easy being a kid.
And I think that's why the Bible tells us that, right? Be like a little kid.
Yeah.
So the thing is that when you turn to become like act like a kid, just let the kid go. We always like we're gonna be adults. It's okay to let go, let loose, and be silly. That's what I like about life. Let go, let loose, be silly, have fun.
Now, what was the last thing that we talked about?
I don't
The
remember.
challenge.
Oh, the challenge. The challenge. So our last and final way that we talked about on the podcast.
Now, like I said, there's many different ways.
Yes.
And we ran through some of them in the podcast.
Yeah, we do a lot of different things.
You just have to kind of find out
what works for you
and how it fits into your dynamics.
Yes. So again, if you haven't listened to it, it was podcast number 104, 3 ways to reconnect. So podcast episode
Yep.
podcast episode number 104.
Yep.
3 ways to reconnect. So our last way, tidbit and suggestion was to do a 10-day challenge, right?
Yep.
So our 10-day challenge is
An intimacy challenge.
Mhm.
Yes. But it's whatever she needs for 10 days and it's whatever I need for 10 days. So then that way we both are being fulfilled. So because what I want may be different than what she needs, obviously it is, but we want to make sure that everyone's happy. So if we're reconnecting, we want to make sure that you're happy in this challenge and that for 10 days that you're taken care of, and I am the same way.
right. So in the 10-day challenge, what you have to do, part of the guidelines is that you have to sit down with your mate and say, what is intimacy to you, right?
Mhm.
For 10 days, I'm going to give you whatever you need that you consider that is intimate,
Mhm.
right? So we're connecting our intimacy because we know intimacy reconnects us. And so intimacy to me may be, okay, every day that you come home, I want you to hug me,
Okay.
for 5 seconds, and
Yep.
then give me a big kiss for at least 25 seconds, right? Or a
Okay.
minute.
Right.
Intimacy is different to different people. We talked about that, right? Or I
Mhm.
want you to sit down with me every day and read part of the Bible. Whatever your intimacy is.
Right.
I want you to come in when I'm cooking and come behind me and tell me how much you love me and appreciate me, whatever it is. So the thing
Right.
is, I express to my mate what I want and what is intimacy to me, for what he has to give me every
single day for 10 days.
for 10 days. And
Mhm.
then he tells me
Mhm.
what he wants as intimacy
Right.
for the next 10 days. Now you have to agree.
Okay.
Now, if you go into this agreement, your word is your bond. So you
So I can't come in and say, baby, I'm tired. I ain't got time to be hugging and kissing
right.
on you.
Oh, I forgot. My bad. I didn't hug you. So we have to be intentional again in our relationships, and we have to make sure that we're present. And by doing that, I agree to his terms. He agreed to my terms. If there's any little bylaws that read the fine print, then put that in there and make sure that we are green for the next 10 days, that we will do the 10-day intimacy challenge. And so what does Vicky say?
Yeah, she says she looks at Earl's face and then she can see that something is of concern. At that time, she'll touch him, let him know that, hey, I'm
here and
yep,
ready to
then
lend an ear, heart, and hand.
See, that's what I'm talking about. Being in tune with the person. You don't always have to say anything. You can tell, one, by their actions, two, by their face. Because a lot of time, men, we wear our emotions, right? So
Oh,
if
you
we're
could just tell.
yeah, you could just tell them when
Yeah.
something is heavy on you or something is wearing on you. Just paying attention to that, and so then you know how to interact with that person. And you know what? And it's wonderful. Just say, hey, I'm here if you want to talk.
Mhm.
And you know what? And this was like cool. Like, yeah, I didn't really want to tell you this, but yeah, something's bothering me. But now that I know that you're willing to just lend the ear, and I don't feel like I'm burdening you with my situation, and you're open to talking about it, then cool. I can sit down and have a conversation and say, look, yeah, I had a rough day at work. This is what was going on. And I just wanted to get that off my chest. Thank you for listening.
What I do find with that, though, that we often tell some of our couples is that men have this this, I don't know what I normally call it. Men have a tendency of feeling as though they don't want to burden us with
Mm-hmm.
problems, right?
Right.
And so we may say, well, what's the problem? Well, tell me about it. And they may feel as though they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to burden us with it. Well, the thing is that if something is bothering you, it's bothering us.
Right.
So to help men understand
You're
the
saying
fact,
like indirectly it's bothering?
right,
Yes,
absolutely,
because it is. It's bothering
absolutely.
us. Yes.
So for men who may think it's better not to share with your wife the things that are bothering you because maybe you feel like it's petty, or I don't want to worry her with it. The thing is that when you're worried, we can tell. If you're connected to your mate, I can tell when something's bothering Jason. So it is going to cause more friction by you not telling me than you telling me. And I don't mean telling me. So the thing is, you can just say, yeah, something's bothering me, something's concerning me. I really don't want to talk about it. That's fine. But being aware and just letting your mate know that, yeah, it may be something, it's not that big. Thank you for, offering to listen, but you know what? It's okay. Instead of just trying to hold it into yourself. So we are here. Women are here, and I find that women are a lot stronger than men. So
At times, at times.
we can usually handle, and we're usually the calmer head. Like we can really try to navigate with things and probably help you two or better than one. We can help navigate to maybe come up with a better solution. When
I
we
tell you,
talk
it's
about
it's
it.
refreshing if I come in and you have, hey, what's going on? I go, oh, nothing. You go, yeah, okay. And she wait a little bit, let me get settled in or whatever. And she go, okay, well, what's going on? You look like you've been you just disturbed by something. And eventually I'll go ahead and say something. But yeah, it's just I'm like, well, I don't want her worrying. One, I'm already, something's already affecting me. I don't want to worry her about what's bothering me that I'm not telling her, which can kind of get kind of confusing, as you can see. So, now we just need to have a conversation about it and just talk. And it's like, you know what? And I feel so much better after you kind of get it off your chest and be like, man, thank you. I appreciate it. I wanted to say something, but I didn't want to say something because I don't, like I said, I don't want to be, giving you all this other stuff. So, but she's like, yeah, let's talk about it. You talk about it, you get another angle. You'd be like, okay, well, it ain't that bad. Actually, the problem really is going to work out. You just need to clear your head from the situation or whatever it is, and you go back and you go ahead and continue life. But now that situation is not affecting us because now I'm present.
Right. And sometimes as men, when you try to do that, that thing in itself causes a disconnect. Because now, as a wife, I feel like I'm on the outside, and for some reason, you don't want to share. And so, even though it may not be, it makes me feel some type of way, and it may not even be the case. But so we have to be able to recognize the things that we're doing in our marriages that may cause disconnect, even when we don't plan for it to cause disconnect. So that's good, Vicky, that you guys talk about, or when he's, and so we offer a lending ear, and whether you guys want to talk about it or not, you guys know that we're here.
Well, I think we should. I mean, men should just come and step up and have a conversation and just kind of get some of this stuff off your chest. I mean, like I know you want to wear it and you want to be strong and handle all this different stuff, but there's nothing wrong with coming in and going, man, I had a rough day today, and especially if they could see it on you because it's affecting your relationship whether you say anything or not. So you might as well just go ahead and say it.
All right, yeah, absolutely. Or just talk about it.
Yeah. And it makes you feel better. Now I can be, like I said, now I can be present in the relationship and have fun with it.
All right, so that's the key. So having fun in our relationship, the biggest thing about reconnecting is making sure that you're having fun. You're having fun. Your mate is having fun. My phone is ringing, and so I'm going to turn that off real quick. So I think so. Now, are there any questions about the 10-day the 10-day intimacy challenge? Now, don't get it confused with the 30-day sex challenge. That's something totally
that's
different.
totally different. Right.
That's
you can have intimacy without
having sex. But if your mate says that, then that is something that we have. So we have to agree on this 10-day challenge. And so I don't think we like I said, Jason and I use several different ways to reconnect. Sometimes we go on walks. We go on long walks, and not only are we getting our exercise in, but we're talking.
Yeah.
So sometimes we go on walks and we put our headphones in, but when we know we need to connect, let's go for a little walk. We may walk to the park. We may sit on the bench. We may talk. So finding ways to reconnect and making sure that you're present and intentional in your relationship. And so don't forget the date night, but the date night has to be engaging.
You got to always be facing one another when you're talking. Like it's kind of tough. Like when we're walking down the street, it's kind of tough because we're not really facing each other. But Like if we're out somewhere, it's nice to be able to be like this. You know, we're facing each other and looking at each other eyes, especially when we're reminiscing about various different things. Yeah, I can just like see. You know, it's like I remember then when we were doing this, and she smiles, and I'm like, okay, yeah, she remembers that. She gets that same feeling that I have,
It's
and
nice to reminisce and laugh and
it
joke.
is,
Be
especially
silly.
especially when you were young and you did some crazy things. So
All right, so I think that's going to wrap up this week's episode of Reconnecting. I think next week we'll have a guest. We will be putting it out there, so look out for any new podcast.
yeah,
Is something else?
yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know who's on next week,
Oh,
but
I
we'll
don't
see.
either. I
Yeah,
don't either.
yeah.
So, but we will let you know. And again, if you guys have, we are also looking for anyone who is willing to do, we're doing market research for couples. So if you're looking to answer some personal questions, you or your mate, not together, because sometimes we need to be away from our mate to answer honestly.
Hmm.
So if you guys want to be a part of our research, market research, please DM us or you can email us at info@legendaryrelationship.com. So we're looking for open and honest couples to share some information so that we can continue to provide the information and the tools that couples need to have a healthy, happy, and successful marriage.
Yeah, just say I'm open to it, or you can DM us at Legendary Relationship on Instagram and Instagram and
Facebook.
Facebook. Thank you very much.
All right. So I think that's it for us. That's going to wrap up another episode of our Friday Night Live. We are enjoying our Friday. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you
Yes.
for all the comments and even though some people didn't share with us some of the things they do to reconnect. So we hope that you guys are reconnecting.
Yeah, you can
Right.
always learn something. So you just take a little bit back. But the main thing is one, having a conversation and being and paying attention to your mate. You know,
And your
everything
relationship.
isn't always spoken, right? So you
Yeah.
have to see it. So, and when you do, you say something about it. You act on it, right? You don't have to pressure the person, but just act on that just out of abundance of concern.
All right. So I think that's it. Guys, we will be back.
Thank you so much, Vicky. We greatly appreciate that.
All right. What did Vicky say?
Great session. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Earl.
Earl.
Thank you, Nancy and Monique and everyone else out there. Thanks for everyone. And as always,
We're in it to win it.